And Republican presidential candidate Rand Paul is with us this morning from Capitol Hill. Senator, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
I want to ask you about what's happening in your state and county clerk, Kim Davis. Should she be fired or should she be allowed to keep her job?
Well, I think we could probably find an in-between solution where people can have contracts, any consenting adults can have contracts, but that we don't really force people to put their imprimatur, their signature, or their approval on the contract. Notaries notarize contracts all the time. Why couldn't you just have a notary doing it? The clerk has said she will file the contracts as she files any other contract. She just doesn't want to be forced to participate in something she has a religious objection to. And I think we could find a way around this. Ultimately, if society is going to change its opinion on what marriage is, I think it'd probably be better through persuasion than through sort of an aggressive tactic where we federalize everything and force people to do things they don't want to do.
But right now, Senator Paul,
right now, Senator Paul, to probably let people make their own decisions.
But right now, Senator Paul, we don't have another option. These are the two choices. Do you support what she's doing?
Well, I don't think we always have to have two choices or that it has to be a binary option. I think you actually could make it such that notaries notarize contracts. In fact, what's happening is as the people who are promoting this change in the definition of marriage, as they become more aggressive, there is going to be more resistance. And some of the states are getting out of the marriage business entirely and just saying, look, you want to have a marriage, go somewhere and get people who agree with your definition to give an imprimatur on it, but don't ask those of us who don't agree with it to put our imprimatur on it. So I think ultimately that's what's going to happen. If the people want to change things, push too hard, they're actually going to make things worse. And I think persuasion's a much better way than sort of bullying people into believing what you believe in.
Senator, what do you make of the request by the RNC for candidates to sign a pledge that they won't run as third-party candidates? Have you received that, and have you signed it?
We have received it. I haven't signed it. I do have some sympathy for third parties, frankly, because sometimes the main two parties don't do a very good job, and third parties do provide pressure on the two parties to be better, actually. But what I don't like about, Donald Trump would be his using the Republican Party and then perhaps going out at the very end after he doesn't win the nomination and then trying to destroy the Republican Party.
Do you like Senator, do you like the idea of a pledge? Will you sign it?
Ross Perot, ended up giving us the first Clinton, and I think that if Trump does this again, he could give us another Clinton. So I think really he ought to state his intentions, and if he wants to be part of a third party, I have no objection to him doing that, but he ought to make the decision now. In all likelihood, yes, I will sign the pledge. I haven't discussed it yet with advisors, but we have said in the past that, yes, I'm not going to run as a third party candidate, and I think that is a reasonable pledge to take.
Senator Paul, Jeb Bush and Donald Trump are having a spirited back and forth, we should say, by tweet. At one point, Jeb Bush even said that Donald Trump is out to destroy the Republican Party. What do you think about that?
I think that Donald Trump is a fake. I think he's a fake conservative, and really there's not much about him that is conservative. I've been pointing out with a great deal of emphasis that the right to private property and that you can't take private property and give it from one to another. This was the Kelo case. This was a big deal for conservatives. It was in 2005, and we objected to the Kelo decision that allowed private property to be transferred from one private property owner to the other. This is something Donald Trump uses in his business model. He took a little old woman, a lady's house who'd lived in her house for 30 years just to make a parking lot, and he used the bully force of government. So there's issue after issue. He was for President Obama's government stimulus. He was for Obamacare. So I think he's been against conservatives on every issue of the decade, and yet now he wants us to believe that he's changed his opinion on everything. That's a little unusual for an adult to be now against everything they were for. So I'm going to keep pointing out that he is a fake conservative, and he's going to have to sort of convince people that he's sincere.
Senator Rand Paul, thank you very much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.